Good morning. Welcome to Member Focus Monday. I'm Christina Schaefer, Social Media Manager for HAR. I'm joined this morning by our Director of MLS, Shawn Dauphine, and it is 9:07. We're very sorry that we're coming to you a little later than normal this morning. With so many people using live stream platforms, there's a lot of this going on. So we might lose him. There he is. We might lose him this morning. If we do, we will try to reconnect as soon as possible. And again, we're sorry for the delay. As we know, we've all become so dependent on technology, but there's so many people using it that these networks can't necessarily handle it all. So we'll do the best we can this morning. I do want to mention before I let Shawn introduce himself and we get started with today's topic, that today's Member Focus Monday and this week's HAR on the Move podcast are sponsored by Johnson Development Company. Johnson Development Company has been keeping current with the times. If you go to HoustonNewHomesOnline.org, .com, HoustonNewHomesOnline.com, you'll see virtual CE classes, and many Johnson Development builders have virtual home tours available. As we know, in this virtual world we're living in, that's really helpful. So, Shawn, thank you again. We already had an interesting morning trying to get connected, but thank you for joining me. If you could, I know you've been on this program before, but just a quick introduction so that we can introduce you to our members who haven't met you before.
You bet. My name's Shawn Dauphine, and I am the Director of MLS here at HAR. My primary responsibility is, Matrix, Realist, and Supra Systems. I also work closely with the MLS Advisory Group to determine MLS policy. We also review a lot of member feedback to help make the system a little bit better.
Very good. So we marketed this as you're going to give us a market update. We will get to that. You have some great statistics that you have to share with us as well, and some charts to show us. But let's just start off with just a general update. What's been done with MLS at this point to assist our members through this time?
Yeah, I tell you, the HAR staff and our realtor leadership have been working really hard over the last few weeks to make sure we're still servicing our members. And this is across all departments, communications, our governmental affairs, technology, education. And so today I'm going to focus a little bit on kind of what we've done with the MLS. And so I guess, mid-March we started working our staff remotely so that they could continue to assist members in the way that they're used to being serviced. And so, once we were able to get staff working remotely, and that's working out really well, they're able to take calls just like they were from the office. We were able to expand our phone support to include weekends. And so now our folks in the quality assurance and the MLS department are manning the phone 7 days a week. And members can also do online chat through the website, and that's working out really well.
Okay.
So in addition to that, we've, the Super Center is, still taking orders online, and it will ship items to members. We also have curbside pickup for super boxes that are ordered online. That seems to be working out really well. And so as we were, preparing to service members remotely, we were also asking ourselves, well, what we can do, to help ease our members' pain out there. We know it's a difficult time right now. The market is slowing down. So one of the things the board of directors decided to do was to waive third quarter MLS fees for all of those folks that have paid for the second quarter. And I haven't seen any other MLSs across the country, doing something like this. So I'm real proud of our board, for taking this step. Mm-hmm. And so, for those that haven't paid second quarter yet, we've extended that deadline to April 30th. So you can still pay for second quarter up until that point and still receive your third quarter of free MLS fees.
Very good.
Other things we're looking at doing, since it's difficult to work in this environment, everybody wants to be safe, right? So, we're looking at what kind of technology can we provide our members to help, facilitate their services more virtually. And so our technology department, headed up by, Taki Risby, is developing a live streaming platform. And this will allow members to host open houses live, so they can be at the property and have, an unlimited amount of people, that are surfing the internet or that have already known about the open house, will be able to tune in and watch the agent stream that open house live. These would be available in the open house search. We know open house is a very popular feature on har.com for consumers. And so, once this platform goes live, agents will be able to schedule those open houses so that consumers can search for them just like they used to, right? And except these virtual open houses. And eventually that platform will be extended to do virtual showing, so a one-on-one showing with a client as well.
That's great.
So additionally, on HAR.com, because consumers are concerned with actually showing, or visiting properties in person, right? So we're promoting 3D tours. And so anyone who uploads a Matterport or a Zillow 3D tour into the virtual tour slot matrix will be picked up on HAR.com, and a logo will be presented on the primary photo that says 360 degrees. So it makes it easy for a consumer to click and find those 3D tours. And those give a pretty comprehensive display of the property without actually being there.
So that is already available for members to take advantage of?
That is there today. So again, that's in Matrix. You would just go in and in the virtual tour slot where you're used to putting the 3D tour. The ones that were already there, they're already picked up and they're already being displayed. So it'll be just for new ones, and that's through the Matrix system.
Great. Okay, so I see a few people asking about the connection. It looks like everybody got connected again. We apologize for that delay this morning, but we're here. It looks like everybody can see and hear us, so let's just keep our fingers crossed that that doesn't change. Another thing we wanted to discuss with you is NAR's clear cooperation policy. If you could first explain, what is the clear cooperation policy so that we all understand.
With everything that's going on right now, I realize it's hard to focus on MLS policy, right? But it is something that, the National Association of Realtors approved last November, an overwhelming vote by their board of directors. It's a policy that all local realtor-owned MLSs must adopt by May 1st. And so, prior to the pandemic coming into the United States, we have been working on this for several months, trying to prepare. And really the idea behind the policy is that as a MLS participant, you are there to share your listings with other brokers just like they share their listings with you. And so, if you're out driving around, looking for properties and you see an open house sign or a yard sign, the expectation is that you should be able to go into the MLS and see that property as well. So in other words, if it's ready to advertise to the public, then it should be available to other MLS participants. So that's the basis of the rule. And if you want to pull that up right now, I'll get that first screenshot, and you can actually see what that rule says. And basically, imagine a scenario where you get a listing agreement and you want to put the sign in the yard because you're ready to go, but it's not ready to go in the MLS yet. This rule does require that within one business day of marketing the property, that means a yard sign, a social media post, anything outside of your brokerage would require that the listing be put into the MLS. And so today, there's a scenario where you may not be ready to go into the MLS, but you have a listing agreement, you want to put the yard sign in. So what do you do now? And so that's what we've been working on for the last few months, is to help our members comply with that. Okay. We realize there may be cases where it may not be ready to go active. And so really working with the MLS advisory group, I want to give a shout out to them. So over the course of 4 meetings to determine this policy, they work really hard to come up with the solution that we're going to propose here in just a second.
Yeah, so that takes us right into it. How is HAR going to comply with this clear cooperation policy?
Well, we're going to be developing some new statuses. Mm-hmm. Is really what it comes down to. So if you, as I was mentioning before, if you show up at a property and you have your listing agreement and you're ready to put the sign in the yard, but you're not ready to put it in the MLS, you may have to take photos. There may need to be repairs need to be made. Whatever the case, sometimes there's a delay between the time you sign the listing agreement and the time it goes into the MLS. What we're going to be doing is developing a coming soon status. So when you get that listing agreement, if you want to put the sign in the yard, go ahead, and that would kick in the policy. So you'd have 1 day to put it into the MLS. But if it's not ready to go active, you would put it in as coming soon. Okay. So if you want to switch over,
go ahead and show them the statuses.
Before you get to the statuses, there's another scenario where, typically we've had very few transactions, but there are some sellers that want some privacy, some sense of privacy, right? They don't want it going to the whole internet, and typically they have not used the MLS at all. Mm-hmm. But they were able to advertise them beyond the listing broker, and they were able to put a sign in the yard. So that's going to change a little bit. So we had to address the scenario for those sellers that we're never intending to put it in the MLS. These weren't coming soon. These were never going to be on the MLS. So how do we accommodate that segment of sellers who wish to have some sort of privacy, but still be able to have some limited marketing? So if you want to show the screen there.
They can see it now.
So starting May the 1st, we'll have available the coming soon status. We're still working on private per seller with our vendor core logic. That takes a little bit more work because it's going to come out a little bit different than the standard status, and we'll talk more about that as we get closer to rolling that out. But on May 1st, coming soon, you'll be able to add a listing to the MLS prior to it going active. So while you're making those preparations, while you're getting the painting done or you're getting the photos taken, you're getting it staged. And so here's some of the business rules related to the coming soon. So, no showings would be allowed. Coming soon would not be displayed on HAR.com. It would not be sent out to portals, so it would not be, sent to Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, etc. You would be able to search it in Matrix just like any other status. You could set it up in auto notifications to clients. It's available to email out of Matrix. And currently, when we proposed these rules, this was prior to the pandemic. So, there was a time limit for coming soon. You have 14 days. So when you add the listing, you can say, hey, I want to go active in 5 days, 7 days, up to 14 days. If you don't make it active within those 14 days, the system will automatically put it into withdrawn status. And then when you're ready, you can make it active at any time. There's no days on market counted for coming soon as well.
Okay. So, and I do see somebody asked a question about how will coming soon affect the market, the days on market.
Well, it will not be counted. So while it's in while it's in coming soon, no days on market are accumulated. As soon as you go active, that's when days on market will start.
Very good. So if you'll give me a minute, I'm going to take a look because I know I've seen a lot of questions popping up for you. A lot of people telling you good morning. They're happy we're able to do this virtually. That was about the video starting. She just asked a quick question that you could probably address easily. How do I get a PIN number for a super box that I bought from a friend?
Well, there's a form that transfers that ownership from your friend to yourself, and typically the friend would provide the lockbox number, the serial number. And so once we change the serial number, over to the new agent in the system, then we then give her the PIN number.
Okay, very good. So a couple questions about video tours, 3D tours, 360 tours, and I see Nathan Goebbels answered a couple of these questions for us, but what about displaying a logo for video tours? What is the rule there?
Well, we don't allow overlays on the images. However, HAR.com is going to put one on there for you if you have a 3D tour. If it's just a regular virtual tour, right now those are displayed with its.
Looks like Shawn just froze there, and we'll give it a second to see if it reconnects. No. Okay, so I'm going to have to give him a call back, see if it's going to reconnect here, if you'll bear with me just a moment. Oh, are you there?
I'm back.
All right, good. Sorry about that. So you were talking about the logo that we will display for them?
Yeah, so there's really no need for the agent to overlay a logo. So HR.com will do that on their behalf once there's a 3D tour in that virtual tour. And I was saying that a typical virtual tour already has its own link for a virtual tours.
Mm-hmm. And what about 360 video tours? Will it have the 3D with the tag as well, or the logo as well?
Right now, we're picking up anything that has a Matterport URL or the Zillow 3D tour URLs that are entered into Matrix. Now, if you're using another 3D platform that we're not aware of, you can email us, mlsqa@har.com, or myself, Shawn, SHAWN, @har.com, and we can look at adding that provider's URL as well.
Very good.
One thing Taki and his technology department are also doing is trying to build a platform so that if you have a camera that takes 3D photos, that you can use your own photos and put together your own 3D tours, on his platform at no cost.
That's great. So that's a great suggestion for you, Ram. I see he's asking about a specific platform he uses for 3D, or for 360, excuse me. So just email them with that information. I did see another question pop up. Oh, I think I just lost that one. But so somebody said, I heard there's a coming soon status coming. Is that true? We've already answered that. Yes, there is. Teresa said, can the live virtual open house links still go to public/private remarks or now be placed in virtual tour?
A public open house, you said, a virtual open house?
Virtual open house, yes.
Yeah, we're still allowing those in public remarks until, for the short term temporarily, okay? And so I think once the platform's developed, which I'm hearing should be this Friday, we may look at that differently and just start having them go through the virtual tour slot inside of Matrix. Or actually, with regards to open house, they would just add that on hr.com on the virtual open house.
Okay, very good.
That way, because right now, if it's in the remarks, it's handy when you're looking at the listing, but there's no good way for consumers to search for those. And so with the live open house platform that Key is creating, it will be a searchable on hr.com for members. So they can go and see what live open houses are coming up this weekend. They can go in and register for your open house and get notified when it's about to start, so they'll know to go back to that property. It'd be a little more effective than just putting it in the remarks.
Very good. A couple other questions from members, and I'll get back to the market update that we want to hear from you as well. I see a couple of people excited that it's only 14 days. Harold is asking, are we allowed to put coming soon signs on the property still?
Yes, as long as you make it available to the MLS within 1 day. And when I say make it available to the MLS, coming soon satisfies that requirement. So as long as you get it into the MLS as coming soon, make it available to the other participants, you can put your yard sign, in the yard, and you can advertise it to the public. You need to make sure you have a listing agreement, obviously.
Yes.
That's standard practice before you put a yard sign or into the MLS.
Very good. Does this also apply to rentals? Is it the same for rentals?
No, actually, there is going to be an exception for rentals.
Okay.
And new construction for more than one property. So if you have a new construction development, it's not expected that they put every property in that development in the MLS if you have a master agreement. In other words, so you can just still do the model home or a few homes like they're doing today. So those are two exceptions that were carved out by NAR.
Okay, very good. Brianna, and we've answered this question before, but let's go ahead and answer it again because our members continue to ask about freezing days on market. She's saying that Brianna's saying that she's seen other markets are freezing days on market. Is that something HAR is considering?
We have considered it. We've had a lot of discussion and debate about that with our leadership, and most of the MLSs we've talked to are not freezing it. In fact, the CMLS, the Council of Multiple Listing Services, is recommending that MLSs do not freeze it. And there are a lot of factors that go into that. I mean, one is that there's really no competitive advantage being gained by anyone because it affects all properties equally. And really, you wouldn't want a property that's been on the market over a year because they're overpriced, all of a sudden not having a days on market. So, we need to be able to look back in time as well and see, what effects the pandemic had on the market. And so, we believe that, leaving it, as it is probably the best course of action. I will say, even if we took it down, Zillow and other websites will still have days on Zillow because they count their own days once they receive the listing. We did put up a message on HAR.com that says, due to the current condition, the days on HAR.com may not accurately reflect typical market conditions, just to remind them that, hey, this, days on HAR is obviously affected by the pandemic.
Of course. Quick answer here. Rhonda's asking, are photographers allowed to shoot during this time? She's had a couple decline to go out for Matterport.
Technically they can. I think according to the court order, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And so, I think it's going to be an individual decision. We want to make sure everybody is being careful, following the guidelines. We had, a lot of efforts to make sure that, real estate was an essential service. That doesn't mean that business is normal, right? That means you got somebody who is really in need of housing or a transaction that you're at least able to help them. It doesn't mean just to go out and show like you typically would or conduct business as you would. So yes, photographers can go in and take a photo. Should they be extra careful? Obviously, yes. They don't have to take a photo. So again, that's going to be an individual decision, I think.
Very good. Michelle, this should be another quick one too. Michelle Murray just asked, how exactly does days on market show to consumers during COVID? We've actually put up a little disclaimer, if you will. It's a little bar, I think it's in yellow, that they can see right under all the major specifications for the home. They see, as Shawn just said, that this may not accurately reflect the market conditions. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Honey said she missed the screen for coming soon. We will actually provide you all of Shawn's slides, including the 3 that we're going to take a look at in just a moment. We'll provide them all to you guys at the end. And
just to touch on coming soon as well. I mean, this is something we've been working on a while, and our plan was to have a really heavy communications during March and April. Obviously, with the pandemic has kind of gotten in the way. All of our communications has been geared around the pandemic. So you'll start seeing more and more about it, the coming soon status, the business rules, how to access it, and how to comply. And so, again, that rolls out May 1st. So just look for those communications over the course of the next couple of weeks and check Matrix sign-on message.
Okay, very good. So when is the coming soon going to be displayed in MLS? You might have already mentioned this, but I see a question for it.
Yeah, May 1st. May 1st. Christina, I'm unable to hear you.
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, there you go.
I had to mute for just a second because I do have a 3-year-old, and as you know, we're all at home. I hear Shawn's cat meowing a little bit, but so I'm sorry I had to mute for a second because she was whining next to me. So Teresa asked, has HAR thought about having a way to search for vacant homes for a designated period of time, similar to how we had flooded homes during Harvey?
I've discussed that with one board member, and so, I haven't heard much other discussion about that. If that's something that the members think is valuable, it's something we can consider further. We could look at adding a field in the showing instructions to indicate that the home is vacant. We've discussed that before. Actually, in Harvey, we had talked about that as well because people wanted to know what was vacant and not, and a decision was made not to do it just really for security reasons, but this is a different time now, so I think that's something we can consider.
Okay, very good. So I see a few other questions, and I see Nathan. Thank you, Nathan, is answering some of these for us. And I'm sorry about the no audio again, everybody. I tried to mute so you wouldn't hear the whining, but then I forgot to unmute myself. So let's go ahead and get into the market update a little bit. I know you have some information to share. We're obviously in a new month, and this is a question on a lot of people's minds. In light of the month that we've had, how is the real estate market in Houston? And we can get into maybe some trends that you're seeing too in just a moment.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, we started off the year, we were poised for another record-breaking year after 2 record-breaking years. So, up until the middle of March, the market was great. And so, I don't have to tell the people listening that things have changed. And so over the course of the last 2 to 3 weeks, starting probably about, mid-March, there has been a downturn. I say, the statistics are starting to show what we all expected, that there is slowness in the market. And so we've been tracking some statistics on a daily basis. I've got some weekly stats to show you today. Okay. Working with the Texas A&M Real Estate Center to produce some other weekly stats that we'll be able to share with members and they can share with their clients. Okay. If you want, I guess we can show sure. Some of the statistics that I put out there right now. So do you have, I guess, is it the appointments up right now?
Yeah, they're looking at it right now.
So you can see appointments just, these are the 4 weeks in March. Starting March 3rd would be the first of the first week. So showings really, week 3 and week 4 have been down. So they're, off 52% that last week in March. And I think that's to be expected. Sellers are concerned about, entering properties they're unfamiliar with. And that's, one of the reasons we're trying to provide virtual tools for our members so that, these showings, can be done virtually. We won't be able to, right now we're not tracking virtual showings yet, but, these are actually showing appointments through CSS and showing time. So I think, so far it's still trending down. So hopefully that'll kind of turn the corner. And again, a lot of this just depends on how long the pandemic's going to last. So we can move on to new listings, which, to me is a little bit brighter slide. If you look, I mean, new listings are down, but they're only off 22%. I was on a call last week, a webinar, where a professor out of Colorado who tracks these types of statistics across the world, and he was looking in Seattle, UK, and Italy, who are a few weeks ahead of us in terms of the curve of the pandemic, and they were seeing new listings down 50%. So we're not there yet. Are we going to get there? That's hard to say. But so far, we are seeing new listings coming onto the market, just at a little lower pace. And I guess go down to the closed listings.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, these are closed listings down 45% the last week of March. But looking at the line, it was up from the previous week. So that's somewhat encouraging, but we expect it to be down. The same professor who was looking at Italy, he's saying sales are down 70% in Italy right now. And his prediction, I think, for the U.S. would be that we could see sales volume down 50% by 2020 when it's all said and done.
Okay. Nellie just made a quick comment here that it would be interesting to have a way to track virtual showings.
Well, once we have a platform developed, obviously we'll be able to track our own virtual showings. It's difficult when agents are using a bunch of different platforms. We really have no way to know how many agents have done a Facebook Live or a Skype call. So that's going to be difficult. We're just, at least the metrics that we have is consistent, and at least it shows a trend, right? Mm-hmm. And once we get the virtual showings, we won't have a trend to compare to last year because we didn't have those last year, but at least we'll know, on our platform, how many people are taking advantage of that.
Okay. And Kathy was asking the same question, will video showings be tracked? I would think with the platform that Taki's team is working on, there would be a way to do it.
Yes, we'll be able to track the ones that use our platform. Mm-hmm. So if they're using Taki's live streaming platform, yes, we'll be able to track those. It's just, when agents are using other platforms, we really have no access to that data.
Right. Okay. Diane said, shouldn't the new listings be up significantly towards the end of March, thus the down is more?
Well, I think she's right. Typically, new listings are rising at this time, right? You can see in the graph I showed you, if you look at last year, new listings steadily climbed towards the end of March, and right now we're going down. So, I mean, that's, we expected that. It didn't go down as much as I would have thought. So we're only off 22% from the same week last year. That trend could continue and it go down further. One thing we are seeing is a lot more activity on HAR.com. So there are consumers out there looking for properties. They have a lot more time on their hands, I believe. And so, we are seeing traffic, which, that is counter to what that professor said last week in regards to international portals and Zillow, for that matter. He was saying that traffic was down on all of those sites, and that's not something we're seeing in Houston. So, we're hopeful that, yes, we're going to be impacted by the pandemic. It's already impacting the market. Hopefully we can provide tools that help our members work safely and minimize that. But it's going to be a painful, month or two at least.
Yeah, very good. I don't see any other new questions popping up. I'm sure there's a few I missed. Couple comments about CSS. And showing time and things like that. Everybody has a different opinion on those, it seems like. So do you have anything else that you wanted to share with our members, Shawn?
Well, no, just, I know this is a difficult time. I just want our members to know that we're thinking about them. We're here for them. And I encourage, them to, go to our HAR's FAQ. It's har.com/coronavirus. And just keep monitoring the Matrix sign-on messages, and we'll just continue as things develop, continue to provide that information. If they've got members have feedback on things we can be doing, like the request for vacant properties or anything else, I mean, please submit them. I mean, that's that helps us determine what our members really need and for us to serve them. Very
good. Sherry actually asked, will we be able to continue to see these stats weekly? and that's another great suggestion and something that we have discussed internally.
Yeah, no, we are working with the Texas A&M Real Estate Center. So they do our monthly statistics, and they are looking at doing some weekly statistics as well that we will share with our members, and they can share with their clients. Eventually, this will be tracked by month. Right now, it's we're still fairly new, so we've been tracking it by day and now by week. And so, a few months from now, we'll be tracking it monthly. But so yes, you can look for those weekly reports. In the next week or two, we'll start making those available to members.
Okay, very good. That actually answered part of Teresa's question. Teresa said, "How soon will the weekly stats be available, and what is the timeline for the HAR.com live platform that Taki is working on?"
The initial phase of the live platform, Taki hopes to have out Friday, and that will enable you to schedule and host live open houses. The second phase of that, which will probably be in another week or two, would be to do a live showing one-on-one with a client. So Friday, look for the live open houses. Hopefully you'll be able to start adding those in on Friday and get them scheduled for the weekend so you can host those live open houses this weekend.
Okay. Nellie said, do you think we'll have a higher demand than supply and prices may go up for a couple months until we get back to a more normal market?
It's hard to predict. I think, we're probably seeing more new listings come on than we are seeing closed listings. So I would suspect actually that we could get more inventory. So, which typically would, have prices lowered, right? But there's still a lot of demand that's pent up, right? So, when things subsides, they're going to be ready to buy. So the fact that we've got this inventory is a good thing. So, it's really hard to predict. This thing is so fluid with what's going to be happening over the course of the next few months. But I think we're poised with a good supply of inventory for when it does break, and hopefully able to do some business during that time where needed.
Yeah. Interesting question. I don't know if you were able to pull these stats or if you had the chance to. Harold just asked, are we seeing more activity in rural areas as a response to social distancing?
That's not something I've really tracked. I mean, I'll tell you, all the stats I showed you today, I produced them from numbers I got out of Matrix.
Right.
So, if somebody wants to dig in that level, all of the data is there. You just have to extract it and put it into some reports. That's something we could look at, but I have not really done an analysis of rural versus urban.
Diane also asked about pending listings, and I know we do have our market update coming out this Wednesday, so a lot of these more specific market questions would probably get answered then, but I don't know if you had a chance to look at those, Shawn.
I did look at pending. I didn't show them today. I mean, they're off as well. I think about 45%. So it's, it's following the same trend.
Okay. I don't know if you've compared to other markets or spoken to other MLS directors. Nathan Schmidt asked, how do our decreased prices compared to other markets?
I have not done that analysis. I know Texas A&M, they gather data from all of the Texas MLS markets. So once they start producing these reports, I think we'll be able to look at other major metros across the state and do that type of analysis. I don't know that prices has gone down at this point. I know, on April 1st, we do we call a fresh report, and it kind of looks back at March and sees, hey, what was the average list price compared to the previous March? And at this point, the average list price was still above last March. Now, that's only half a month of March was really affected by the pandemic, so that's yet to be determined. So, so at this point, prices aren't falling, but we'll have to see what happens as we go forward.
Very good. A lot of people thanking you, Shawn, and I thank you as well amidst our technical difficulties that I think everybody's experiencing right now with so many people working from home. So many people are trying to stream, and that really bogs down all of the networks for all of the platforms. So I appreciate everyone sticking with us through all of that. Before we sign off, though, I do want to again thank you, Shawn. If you want to come on again in the future, you're welcome to.
Well, thank you.
Because we love to get your information. And I do want to remind everyone that today's Member Focus Monday was sponsored by Johnson Development Company. If you're thinking about clicking off, don't yet, because I'm going to show you a pretty entertaining socially distanced video with two well-known Johnson Development reps, Tammy McCall and Amy Vance. And again, thank you to Johnson Development Company for sponsoring today's Member Focus Monday and the HAR on the Move podcast. And again, a lot of thank yous here. Great info, Shawn. You guys are the best. And even one from Bob Hale. Shawn, you are a true professional. So thank you, everybody. Don't sign off. Watch this fun video from Johnson Development Company.
Good morning. We're live from LOVE JDC. We are practicing social distancing today, as you can see, but we did want to come and introduce ourselves. I'm Tammy McCall, Realtor Relations Extraordinaire for the south part of Houston, and with me today is my amazing sidekick. She'll introduce herself and she'll tell you a little bit about what we have going on that will be very helpful to all of our realtors out there and your clients.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Tammy. I'm Amy Vance, Realtor Relations Specialist with Johnson Development for the North Side. We do have a virtual one-stop shop for you and your clients. So go visit HoustonNewHomesOnline.com and check it out. Back to you, Tammy.
All right, thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
With that, we just want to say we're here for you. We have Realtor University. Be sure you take a look, and that way you can be taking part in our CE classes that are being held virtually via Zoom. Bye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.